Hi, this is Mike Lollimer with PoolStudents.net, along with Trace Kane, and we're going to do some commentary of this match that happened earlier this year. This is Scott Frost and Alex Pagulayan, and they're playing in Northern California. This is actually the finals of this particular tournament. It's quite a matchup to have, and Trace, what can you tell us about these two guys?
Well, I've seen him play a couple of times about 6, 7 years ago at the Derby City. They were playing in gambling matches, and Scott was winning at that time. But Alex seems to be he was really on a roll here. I think he was playing a lot of pool, and I think he's going to be a little bit tougher than he was six years ago.
Alex is he plays one pocket a little bit like straight pool. I mean, he goes shot to shot, and he's watching where where everything goes every second. Scott's more seems like more like a natural. Just he's got his power one pocket going, and things go all at once. But Alex is more like one at a time kind of guy.
Yeah, I think Scott just plays a lot more one pocket, so he has a lot better idea what he wants to do with all the shots. Alex, he plays all the games, just top flight. He's apparently he's either the Canadian snooker champion or close to it. Just recently, he plays 9 ball, 10 ball. He's a great straight pool player, and so I don't think he's just as totally immersed in playing one pocket like Scott is.
I wonder how many of those shirts he has because I know he didn't wash them and dry them during the course of the match, and that one looks pretty clean.
Well, this is a tutelage about one pocket, not about personal hygiene and grooming, so I don't know what I could have to say about it.
Well, he could have many shirts.
So Scott won a lag, and he's getting the first break, and if the match goes he'll have the last break, so it's always good to win that first lag.
Ooh, didn't get where he wanted.
No, he's hit the break a little bit light because he's allowed Alex to see this 9 and 1 ball, and plus he doesn't really have anything super close to his pocket, so Alex has a lot of options here. Uh, there's easy shots that he can do, but he's going to look for something that maybe not only can he get safe, but he's going to move stuff into over by his hole and try to block Scott from seeing it.
It amazes me how these guys can get up in the morning and play a world-class match after the nights they go through. I happen to know for a fact that these two both had real rough nights during this tournament, but I bet they still play great.
Yeah, they just got a lot of time, a lot of skill, and it's time to put the show on. They're performers, they're professionals. It's time to get up and put the show on. And Alex is well known for he's very animated when he plays, and he has a lot of fun.
Oh, look at that. Is that any good?
So he's hit a really, really nice shot there. He's eliminated balls from Scott's side of the table. He moved balls to his side of the table, and he puts Scott in a position where he can't get easily at Alex's ball.
Oh, forced
Yeah,
it too.
very tough shot there for Scott. The ball was not sitting in a good position. He was pretty accurate with that kick, but the the ball was just not in a good position to get it moved out. But it looks like there's not really a lot of easy position shots for Alex to get on another ball. So he's looking around to see what he can do. A lot of guys will just jump right up and shoot this ball in the hole. Well, if you can't get any more balls after this shot, all you've done is just eliminated some threat. And so he's taking his time to look and see where he really wants to go so he can keep the pressure on Scott. Because if you just make this ball and don't get any more balls, then you've taken all the pressure off, and Scott's going to go on the offense on you. So take the time to look and see where you can get some more balls or put some more balls and put him in trouble again. Let's see what he does here.
Went too far. Or not. I don't know. He's not happy. He's trying to kick that ball out. Those balls free or something.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to get on that ball that he's sitting on top of, but it just a little bit too hard and it just didn't leak out. He's probably going to be able to shoot this 4 into the 1 ball, like 1 or 2 rails into the 1 ball, and then stick the cue ball right on top of that 2-6, eliminating Scott's ability to see the 9 ball.
Well, I made sort of a silly comment to start this thing about how he reminds me of a straight pool player, but I guess what I meant by that is he's very deliberate. He looks at all the balls and anticipates where everything is going to go when he makes a shot.
Yeah, that's a great way to play. A really great way to play. Probably used a little bit too much speed right there, because he got the 4 to move, but then he moved it out.
His goal was to stay on the back of that ball, right?
Yeah,
So,
deny him the ability to see that. It's either the 9 ball or the 13 ball. Now, Scott, he's not in any trouble here, but he's got to look, and he doesn't really look like he has too much to go towards his hole, but he has balls on his side, and he wants to protect Alex from being able to move those balls on his side over to Alex's side and maybe into the hole. He really didn't have a lot in that position, and Alex has several options here, but Scott's just going with distance, and hopefully with distance Alex might have a little inaccuracy and make a mistake that affords Scott a better opportunity next time he comes to the table.
now, as I continue to try to learn one pocket, I'm learning that more and more shots that I don't really want to end up like this. I want to have some ball hidden or be on some sort of ball, but in the last resort, this distance is what you go to.
Stick them behind a ball, stick them on top of a ball, or leave them long. That's your least best option.
Could he have hit that ball harder and come back down and try to get behind the stack? Would that have done him any good?
Well, he has such a limited area there, because if he goes too short, then Scott could bank the 1 ball, and if he goes too long, then Alex could cross that 13 ball down there. So Alex has moved the ball off Scott's side, but he's allowed Scott a chance to bank this 4 ball and maybe get a couple of balls. Scott's looking to see maybe he can bank that ball that's on top of the stack. A lot of times these guys, when you're looking at the better matches, they're not going to make glaring mistakes, and what they look for is they move and move and move and look for a little bit of weakness, and then a guy can capitalize on that weakness by banking a ball towards his hole and sticking him behind the ball, and then all of a sudden the next time he's got a way better shot.
Right on top of that ball. That's where you want to be just about every time, isn't it? Right there where he got.
Yeah, I like that. I call that like a 45-degree angle when you leave him stuck on that ball, because it makes it hard. It makes it hard for the guy to go either way. I mean, he can go either way, but each way that he has to go makes it easier for Scott to have a return shot. So looks like Alex is just trying to go thin off of this ball and then get the cue ball up there by where that guy's coffee cup is and leave Scott stacked up on that 4-1 ball. Oh, no, even better than that. Wow. What a great shot. What a great shot. Looks like Scott's going to move the 5 and then stick behind the 8 ball.
That again is that tricky thing that I have trouble with, where you're trying to get action, trying to get move balls, but you can't let the cue ball go anywhere.
Yeah, you're using a hard stroke, but the cue ball is staying right there. Yeah, you just got to set those shots up and practice them, and practice the feel whether you have a stronger grip or lighter grip, or shooting a little lower or a little higher or jacking up or whatever. You've got to figure out how you can do it for yourself. But about 10 minutes of practice, you got to be able to get that down. So Alex got out of that shot, but he's left Scott maybe a bank here. Scott may be able to bank this ball off of the bottom of the 7 ball. I'm looking to see if those 2 balls on the left-hand side, whether the top one goes in Alex's pocket. Right there's an example of, people talk about how good Scott Frost is, and, well, he's a straight shooter, this and that. Those are the little shots that he shot right there that make one-pocket players really, really strong. The ability to go off of a foot and a half off of the side of that ball and then back into a 3-ball cluster right there with the perfect speed and the perfect angle like that. Those are real, real good one-pocket shots.
And knowing that after you do that, he can shoot anything in. Wherever you go, he's a danger.
Mm-hmm. But people think about, oh, this guy's a good banker and this guy shoots straight and he runs a lot of balls. Well, he does all of those things, but that's the power of his game right there, that kind of shot. Those are the kind of shots that Efren calls the invisible shots, the ones that people really don't think about. So what is Alex going to do here? Maybe take a foul? He's thinking about maybe banking the 9 ball because he's in such trouble here that he feels like he's at least 50-50 to bank that 9 ball, but it looks kind of kissy. I think he's just going to take a foul here and just kind of soft kick underneath the 9 ball. Maybe even try to hit it, but if he doesn't hit it, that'd be okay too.
So he didn't have to take a foul. That's pretty.
Yeah, worst case, if he missed the 9, as long as he didn't go into the corner pocket, he was going to be fine.
I mean, that's a pretty good escape from what he was in.
Yeah. See, and now Scott he's left Alex something here. Alex may be able to straight bank this ball, maybe even be able to masse to get into this 9 ball. But he's not looking at it now, so I don't know what he's looking at.
It's very instructional to watch these 2 guys play. I mean, they've already shot about 6 shots that are great lesson shots of, if you can do them. You don't see that in your average game down at the pool hall.
Mm-hmm.
It's well worth getting videos of these folks to see these things. Behind the back.
A little Filipino backstroke.
Behind the 9. Oops, he didn't get up where he wanted.
Yeah. I guess we can excuse him because he shot at backstroke. I would think that as short as all the Filipino players were, that they would all learn how to shoot with the opposite hand, at least on little half table shots like that. Yeah. But all of them, they're so thin that they all shoot that backstroke shot so well. None of them, you hardly ever see them switch hands.
Oh.
And Scott's thrown in a scraper right there.
First 10 minutes of this match, and I've seen, 3 shots I've never seen before.
Can't tell whether this 10 ball goes. Doesn't look like anything is real super open because he's not. If it was, he would be jumping at the table to make that first ball, and then he would just get all the rest of them off.
Sort of unfortunate not to get a good shot.
Yes.
That's about as wide open a shot has been left in this game so far.
Well, Scott he has a lot of confidence in his combinations, and he's one of the great combination players I've ever seen. But I think these pockets are a little bit tight, and I think we saw a match earlier with him, and he was having a little trouble with these combinations. It's a different cue ball. He usually plays with the red circle, and this is the measle ball they're playing with. And that has a little bit of different effect on the way things are going. So I don't know if Scott will give him this. Oh, he was able to get behind it. I suppose if you play on this table all the time, you could probably find a way to bank this 8-ball, but I doubt that in this type of match that Alex is going to try to bank this 8-ball.
There's not many places where he can leave the cue ball that won't give Scott a run out almost.
Yeah, he's got all the balls on his side except for those 3, and none of them are within 6 inches of each other. All the lanes look like they could get open real easy, and so he has to be really careful what he's going to do here.
He's trying to gauge which balls is best to get behind.
Yeah, and he's just looking up table, try to put him up there, but there's just too many open lanes.
So he's going to try to bank.
I think he's going to just push it on his side.
Oh.
No, he banked it. And he made it. Nice shot. I think that ball was just a little bit farther out than what we can see on the screen, because he didn't have any trouble. He didn't look like he had to twist it too much.
Very dramatic, though. You look like watching Alex. You think it was the end of the world, and I'll just bank it in after all that drama.
So Alex has 2 balls now, and now he's just looking to move a bunch of balls away from Scott's side. I really don't think he can shoot anything at his hole. So Scott's leaving him long. He's giving him, if your back was to the wall, you could shoot that. Looks like the 9-ball up there to the hole, but your cue ball path is a little bit uncertain there, and whether or not you're going to get any more balls.
Well, wouldn't he has a decent chance of shooting it and getting behind some balls. I mean, for a player of his caliber.
Looks to me like if he shoots it, he probably runs into the bottom side of that 2-ball. And then into the 13 and then down, and he'll sell out the 5 and the 12 if he misses.
Alex is such a good lesson at looking at every possible thing on the table before he shoots.
I think what he's probably going to wind up doing maybe is he'll go off of that 7 by the side pocket and then just go down to the corner where Scott's corner is. That's a shot I saw Petey Fusco shoot all the time against in a match versus Nick Varner. And he was really, really good at it. Never scratched, always got it down there to the end rail. So Alex looks like he's going for this ball. Let's watch where his cue ball goes. Oh, hit the top side of the 2. So he looks like he has the 14, but he's kind of jacked up over the 5 ball up there. Just a little bit off angle, and if you're a little bit nervous, this is the kind you just jam straight into the rail. So he's not excited about shooting it, but he's going to shoot it, but he's got to get himself together.
And up for a ball. Well, maybe.
Yeah. Nice firm stroke. We had a little bit of that left-hand English. not just make the ball, but bring himself around for some position.
He left a bank though, didn't he? If he had not made that shot.
Yeah, well, he decided he's going for his hole, so he's not. You can't be worried about that you left out a bank. He just wanted to get his cue ball over there so he could run some more balls, but he didn't. Doesn't look like he got into the good spot. Looks like he was maybe thinking about two-railing that ball, or maybe has to masse it. And he just ducked.
Dangerous to duck against Scott.
Well, Scott has all the balls on his side, and probably what Scott's going to do is go off of that three and go up to the top left corner there. He may not have that angle because it could be a double kiss. He's going off the 7 ball to the corner. Speed was pretty good, but not good enough because he's about 3-4 inches off the rail down there, and a lot easier bridge. He's got a lot of ways to get out of this. But he needs to think about getting balls on his side and putting the cue ball in a position where Scott can't keep putting him back up there. So you might just run up here and dunk that 3 ball in the corner, but then Alex will have the same shot. So Scott changed the angle on that shot a little bit.
Put it on the rail.
Put it on the rail. A little bit tougher. Maybe you just follow straight through into the corner now, What Alex has to do is get his cue ball closer to Scott's pocket. He has to use a little bit less speed on this 3 ball to keep from letting Scott see that 3 ball. If he could have hit that a little straighter up towards the 1 ball and kept his cue ball by the Scott's corner pocket, then Scott has to shoot another shot. But again, this is a hard position for Scott to hold because Alex has so many ways from the top rail to get out of it. Until he gives Scott a shot where Scott can 3 rail the 7 ball and stick him behind some balls, or 2 rail the 1 ball and stick him behind the balls, Alex is going to continue to be able to put the ball back down there where it keeps winding up down there. It's a hard. You think you have a big advantage here because you got all the balls on your side, but it's hard to take advantage of this particular position. I sold out a lot of games trying to hold this position, until I finally realized that, hey, he's got a lot of ways to get out of the traps. So what is Alex going to do here? He looks like he's going to bank the 7 to his hole and put the cue ball back by where he's at, because Scott's got a big stack there in the middle of the table that doesn't have any lanes for his cue ball to go, or his object ball to go to.
You just get the feeling that someone's going to make a mistake and then the other person's going to run all the balls in.
Well, they're all getting past this, side pocket, and that makes it hard to run a lot of balls. But these champions, they will run a lot of balls from up the table. But for mere mortals, once the balls get past the side pocket, it's usually 2 or 3, and then a slow bank to your hole. So I can't tell whether he's gonna. He looks like he's thinking about banking that 2, or maybe just going soft off of the 2. But it's only 1 ball. He risks a scratch in the side if he hits it bad. If he hits it short, it doubles over to Scott's side. If he hangs it up, it might leave a bang for Scott. So the risk reward there just really isn't that good. So you got to have a little precision banking here. There's a little bit of a hole there.
Ooh. You wouldn't expect that to happen.
He got the ball to go through the hole, but he didn't get his cue ball good. Huge error. He didn't have to make that mistake. He had a lot more shots, but he was trying to press his advantage. So Alex has 2. Maybe Alex has 3.
Oh. That happens a lot in one pocket. Mostly for mortals, not the grades.
No, it happens. I remember seeing Steve Cook do that in a match against Jose Perica on one tape, and I was just really surprised that he misses. I think the best thing you can do is when you get ball in hand behind the line. A lot of people just set it down and they'll shoot the ball they're going to shoot. What you got to do is set the ball down where you're at, step back from the table, and then come back into the shot and then go ahead and shoot. I think if you look back and see what Alex did right there, he set it down and then shot that ball.
I miss so many ball in hands. I just want to quit the game every time I do it.
So a lot of Scott's troubles would have been over if he could have got on that 10 ball, but he's gotten light here. So now he's got to stroke up. Fortunately, he happens to have one right there in that left arm. But his position just isn't where he wants it.
First match of the day, probably. Rough night. Things happen. I expect they'll get sharper and sharper as the match goes on.
Well, you can tell. Like earlier, we saw a match where I think it was against Silver, where both of them were a little bit sleepy when the match started out. But these guys being in the finals, they look to me like they're pretty alert, and they know that they really got to perform to get all the money in this tournament. So 7 balls out there. I don't really know what the score is now. Maybe 3-5, Scott? They're not. I don't think they're putting all the balls up. I think there's some still in the pockets, so it's hard to tell what the score is.
For those of you who have heard the name Chris Bartram, a sort of semi-legendary money player, he is, if you haven't seen him, he's up there in that right-hand corner with the blue shirt. That's Chris. One of the really straight shooters in the game of pool. He's both in game-wise and both from a personality standpoint. I'm amazed with that the couple mistakes have gone on in this game that they're still playing it. Do you leave that 9 ball?
Yeah, I really don't like the shot that Scott shot there. It's just there's so many bad things that can happen on that. You think that there's not that many that can happen, but it seems like every time you shoot it, something does. He sold out this 9 ball and put a ball down there for Alex to play position on.
Looks like Alex has to have a conversation with himself on every shot before he takes it.
I think that's why the fans like him so much. He's just so animated. He's just trying to get that good picture in his head.
I've never had a good picture in my head. How does that work?
there's he's trying to figure out how he can do his cue ball the best because the shot isn't 100%. Now he didn't get the best position, but in case he missed that shot, he had left Scott where he didn't have any balls to make. So now this shot, he can play the speed a little bit better to get position on the 2 ball. And it's, one that I'm sure he plays, a shot that he plays all the time in 9-ball. So he's probably, likes this shot a little bit better. He's still a little bit worried about it, but it's a little bit better than the last shot that he had as far as playing position. But again, he doesn't want to make any errors because he knows Scott's really dangerous. So he's looking around to see maybe I've overlooked some better shot. Wow.
He expected that 7 to come out to his side.
I'm not really sure what happened there. He played a billiard off of that ball, and the ball went in, and then the 7 hit the point and came back towards him.
Yeah, I was kind of watching the 7 ball bounce off that point, and then all of a sudden, that other ball's going in.
But again, he played his cue ball back to the end rail.
I can't believe he expected that to happen.
Unless the 7 hit. Did the 7 hit the cue ball?
Well, we'll have to get our producer to put on the instant replay. Oh, we don't have instant replay? Oh, I guess we can.
So again, he's still got shots at his hole, but they're less than 100%, less than 90%, I would say. And he just doesn't want to have to shoot at his hole. So I think he's going to hit this one hard and try to go down to the bottom of the table.
It amazes me that a great player like Alex doesn't, he's so worried about that shot. I mean, he's a favorite to make it. And if you've decided that you have to take that shot, put so much pressure on yourself by trying to hit it so hard.
Well, he's
Maybe you leave a bank anyway.
Yeah, he's trying to play the cue ball down table that he doesn't leave that bank. But the problem is if he was just practicing, where all he had to do was make that ball and get the cue ball down there, just practicing, where there's no punishment if he misses it other than having to shoot it again, he would have made it. But the problem is you get the division in your mind about what if I miss this guy Scott Frost is going to come to the table. It's like you see people who practice by themselves when they make balls, and then they get into matches and they miss balls. Well, what's going on there? It's because your mind gets divided and you're not thinking only about what you're supposed to be doing. You're thinking about that other guy, and you're less than 100% on your shots.
Scott always watches the ball till it stops rolling. I mean, he's down on that table watching where every ball's rolling. He wants it to be just perfect. He was staring at that ball to get on the rail there, that cue ball.
Well, they say that by doing that, you get in tune with the speed of the cloth a lot better. I think George Fells in Mastering Pool talked about that a lot. That you get the speed of the cue ball and the object ball, and So the longer you watch them balls roll, the better picture in your mind has of the table,
He
the
also
table speed.
he also stays down on the shot. I mean, in combination of watching the balls, he's down so far on the table that you never see him jump up or anything. He's always through the shot, watching the balls.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, Al Lawrence from Southwest Q's in Las Vegas, he said Buddy Hall told him, he said, don't be in a hurry to get up off of the shot and see where the balls went. Stay down until the shot is done.
So why is that so hard to do?
Because you're anxious to watch where the balls go.
But in my new favorite line that I got from you, aren't you in charge of your brain? Does Alex, is his speed of play bother someone like Scott Frost?
Uh, I really don't. I don't know about that with Scott. I would say not, but I've never heard him say anything about a guy's speed of play for the most part. So Alex moved the ball over to his side, but he's given up this bank here.
Stacked him at the very.
He's got him stacked, but Alex can easy kick into this ball. He can hard kick into it. I kind of like just rolling up on top, go to the end rail, and just easy roll into this ball. If you try to move it away, you're going to give up a bank on either the 10 ball, or the 2 ball. I think you're just trying to just barely go into the 10 ball. But he may try to move it over to his side from here. See, a little bit hard. The superhuman bankers, they can twist this ball back. Scott looks like he's going to go at the 2 ball. No.
For Scott, he's played a pretty conservative game in this match.
I think a lot of times, Mike, we're used to seeing him playing against weaker players where he'll expand his shot choice. It's like the poker players. You see them win with 5 and 8 of clubs, when they're playing lesser players. But when they're playing the strong guys, they're only coming in with aces. And that's Scott's playing his aces today. He's not playing that 5-8 of clubs. So again, Alex can maybe try to soft kick into this 10 ball. He looks like he's going off of the 1 ball to the end rail. But there's a little bit bigger hole with this 10 ball. It's a lot farther away. The angle's just a little bit different where you're not usually used to kicking for perfect. I think he's going off the 1 ball. Oh, no.
That takes some nerve. Well, that wasn't what he was trying to do, I guess. He's not happy.
I think he was trying to kick it 2 rails to his side, and he hit it. He didn't get deep enough into it. Scott looks like he wants to 2 rail the 1 ball or something. I can't tell what the other balls look like from here. The ones by his hole. He's got a strong position, but he's about to lose that position because if he doesn't do something powerful to Alex here, Alex is going to move those balls away because they're close together now. It makes it easy just to shoot them and move them away. That's why Scott's taking a lot of time on this shot. He knows that he had a good chance to win in the next couple of shots, but if he doesn't do really good, then he's going to lose his position.
Yeah, you don't see Scott take that much time on a shot.
I think he was trying to put him on top of that 7 ball, so that it made it really tough for Alex to bridge. So this combination looks like it shoots into the end rail. Alex just has to.
You mean you wouldn't carry him that 2 off the 10 and knock their ball out of there?
No, yeah, that's what I think he's going to do. But I was just looking at to see where the line of that combination is right now.
Yeah, that's kind of deep.
But he wants to move him away, but he doesn't want to let that 2 ball stay down there where Scott can bank it.
Oh.
So Scott was unsuccessful in keeping Alex off of those 2 balls. And so now Alex has 3 balls on his side. Scott has 1, and it's out in the middle of the table where Alex can bank it. Now, a few seconds ago, Scott had a strong position. Now Alex has the strong position. Alex probably only needs about 2 balls, I think.
No problem. Now, for us mere mortals, isn't that shot supposed to kiss? You know, we can't.
No, there was plenty of distance between the balls. There was, I think the ball was closer to the center of the table. The ball was, I don't know how to explain it.
This ball's liable to go in, right? Oh, he held it up.
Usually you get a kiss when the ball is the same distance from both rails. Okay? And that last shot that Alex crossed was farther away from one rail than it was the other. Because when the balls are the same distance from the rails, usually you got to hit that ball, and the cue ball and the object ball go to the rails at the same speed and then come back together at the same speed. But when one's farther away from the other, the speeds are different, or the timing's different.
That's good information. No one explained it to me like that before. I keep wondering why people keep kicking things or banking things in on me when they're supposed to be kissing. What English do you use on that shot?
He's got to pinch that shot down with right-hand English. Now, see, Scott he practices primarily on a diamond table at Colby's. That shot comes real short on the diamond table. And these Brunswicks play, the shot tends to open up a little more than the diamonds do. And it's kind of his natural thought process. Oh, here's a 2-railer. I'm going to make this. But you got to remember, is this a diamond or is this a Brunswick? Now Alex could bank this 1 ball, but he's got to turn his cue ball loose. I think he's going to get around that 7 ball, but he's got to use a lot of speed on this shot. And now Scott has all the balls on his side. Oh.
That's something I would do.
That's the thing where, distance forces a mistake.
And I know what Scott's saying right this second. He's saying, I'm not a tournament player.
Game 1 to Alex.
What an unusual ending for the best player in the world.
You can see that they do make errors, but a lot of times it's because they're making them because they know they have to make a little bit better shot than what they do against weaker players.
I can see that. I guess I haven't realized that enough because, I mean, there's probably only, 10 players in the world that he would have to be concerned about. Alex happens to be one of them.
Well, let's see what pocket Alex chooses to break for. A lot of times, the players, after they've been playing on these tables, they'll decide which is a better pocket. Maybe the table rolls a little bit better to that pocket, or one pocket is a little bit tighter than the other one. Or maybe Alex just likes to break better on one side, or he feels like he can run balls better from one side.
You were telling me recently in a video that there's a lot of variables when you're breaking, and that just mystifies me because how you can go from one table to the next, and one table you're scratching, and on the other table you're hitting a perfect break. It just amazes me the range of outcomes.
Well, I was just recently watching a match on a table that I play on all the time, and against a player I play against all the time. And he was playing with a different set of balls. We usually play with Centennials with a red circle, and they were playing with this set of balls, these aramith balls, with the measle ball, and the breaks with the same guy that I see every time, but different balls on the same table. The breaks were totally different, just with different balls. So you got to watch what's going on and go, oh, that's why these things are happening. Looks like Scott's going to go around the world. No, he's going to go for the stack. Going to take a foul. The double stack. He's just daring Alex to shoot at that stripe ball that's hanging out. Alex won't do that, though, because he'll run into the 7 ball.
When your ball on the break, when you start a scratch or it starts hitting a weird spot, what adjustments do you make at the break? I mean, what are the most logical adjustments that you make when you're having a troubled break?
Well, if you're scratching, I think you got to start move over a ball and a half towards the center, and play with a little bit more high. So I think they're playing 3-foul rule in this tournament. Alex he was looking right there, maybe just a soft kick on top of the right side of the stack there. He'll take a foul because Scott will be on the first one. He was looking at the rack, see if there was any dead balls or anything, and he's ruled all those out. So it looks like he's just going to shoot into the rack and just try to open the balls up just a little bit. But by doing that, now Alex is on 1 foul. Now Scott has a chance to go, if he needs to, he can go soft off the side of the stack, right back up to where Alex just came from. And Scott's off his fouls, and Alex is on 1. But, of course, he's got to get it back up there in that good spot and deny Alex the 2 ball. And he's executed that perfectly. Now you say, what's changed? Well, what's changed is that the stack is a little bit different now, and sometimes just by nudging those balls a little bit, something gets dead. Maybe for the other guy, maybe for you. And what's changed, Scott's off his foul. Alex is on a foul. So it looks like the same position, but there's little subtle differences, and you got to pay attention to those. Now, Alex, he's not in any danger here. He's still got a real strong position, but he's on 1 foul. He can take another foul. He can go back in the stack, and shake him up just a little bit. Scott will put him back up there, and then he'll decide to do something then. A lot of times you got to give your opponent a chance to do something stupid, you know. Okay, he got away, no foul, but he may have sold the 6-ball out. He's over there looking. Scott got one, but everybody off the bus. The ride is over. Real nice shot. Again, another one of the invisible shots. It's not a bank shot. It's not a shoot 'em in from all over. It's just to hit a ball and play perfect speed and get right dead behind a ball and lock Alex up. So the score is -1 for Alex and 0 for Scott. Scott successfully gotten out of the break. What Alex is probably going to do from here is probably go soft off of that ball by the side pocket and go down to the corner, up to the upper right-hand corner. You try to move that stripe ball into a position where it'll bank back down and try to run some interference so that Scott can't shoot that 5-ball away the next time he comes to the table. He also looks like he's looking at spinning off of the 5-ball to the end rail and to the side rail and then go back in softly into the stack. He's trying to protect that 5-ball.
The thing I've noticed about Alex is just in this match already that he's more willing than most players to go 3-rail kicks somewhere, you know, and I guess that's probably because his background in all the games, but he lets that ball go around the table quite comfortably.
Yeah, now he didn't try to go off the 5. He just went for just to take a straight foul. So Alex is -2. Scott looks like he's going to send that 3-ball over and stick him on the pack. Nicely done. So now you got the king side attack and the queen side attack, you know. Unfortunately, Alex is stuck behind all them balls. Now, this ball is in a really good position, especially when you're playing with tight pockets. Alex can kick up to the end rail with speed, and he can just, it's real easy to either make that ball or move that ball out of there because it's less than a ball's distance from the pocket, so you're not going to scratch if you hit it rail first, you know.
Yeah.
On bigger pockets, this shot gets to be a little bit risky.
Might he be banking that ball? Maybe using that ball to knock it out?
Yeah, that's what he looks like he's going at. Looks like he's gonna play it rail first.
Ooh, I guess that works. Oh, not as well.
Well, he had mission accomplished by getting the ball out of there. He made a ball for Scott. Scott's got 1. Alex is -2. But he sold this bank shot out on, let's call it the 9-ball. Scott's trying to figure out, the bank lays like pretty natural, but he didn't go for it. Maybe that 7 was in the way of the banking lane. I thought he was looking at how he had to hit that ball to play position on the 13. But maybe that 7's sticking up just enough where it was in the banking lane. Now it's advantage back to Alex because Alex has 4 open balls on his side. Scott has 1 on his side, and Alex can see it and can move it away and send Scott up table. If Alex can bank that 5 into the stack, no, he's just going with the stack with the cue ball. Real nice.
It's hard for your opponent to get an advantage if they're there all the time.
Yeah. They're shooting over a stack of balls at your hole. Now, Scott will take a foul if he has to right here. I don't know if he got a rail. We'll see if he spots one up. Yep, he took a foul. But he's okay. He's out of it a little bit. It looks like Alex could go off of that 7 ball and put Scott right back into the pack. A little bit difficult of a shot, but not too bad. He could bank this ball he's looking at right here. Looks like he could even maybe kick safely into the pack. Move some balls over to his side.
Alex will not shoot any shot before it's time.
That's the Paul Masson wine motto, isn't it? We'll sell no wine before it's time.
He's kicking.
Yeah, he's just trying to wiggle the balls. So Scott's on 1 foul first. Alex is on a foul. Now he owes 3. Scott owes 1.
What's the most coins you've ever seen up on the table?
Oh, I don't know, 5 or 6 maybe. In an even match. No, that was a really, really nice shot.
How do you try to do that?
You know, I mean, Scott's probably played 2 or 3 matches on this table and practiced a little bit, but it isn't like it's his home table. So, a very skillful shot there.
Back to the stack. Different spot.
Different spot. Scott may be able to shoot that 6 ball and stick the cue ball right there. Alex is getting more balls open on his side, but they're starting to move up table a little bit. So Scott has, you can see Scott has plenty of space to work with down there by Alex's hole. He's got to keep Alex from the ability to bank that 1 ball back down.
Is there a particular mistake that the beginners make when they get put in the stack?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake is they don't look at the fact that they can just kick. They can kick and take a foul. You know, kick down by the corner pocket and take a foul. You know, their first instinct is to go off the ball and go up to the end rail. And usually the speed's wrong. They wind up fouling anyway, or they hit it too hard and it comes back down and they give up a easy shot. Well, it looks he went all out to make that. He thought he had a billiard there, and he was playing position. If he made it, he was going to run a lot of balls. I would say Scott thought that he was a favorite to make that shot, that he'd made similar shots in the past, and he was pretty sure he was going to make it because he didn't have to shoot that shot, you know. He was pretty sure that he had a good chance to go there and get a lot of balls. He went, didn't make it, and now Alex is going to get a lot of balls. So when you get the open table like this, after all the work you've done, you want to get up there and figure out which way you're going to run the balls. Alex kind of ran up there, shot, got his cue ball in the middle of all the positions and not good on any one position. A little bit fast going to the table on that. The more specific you get, the more your brain will help you out. The better your brain will get and the better your shots will be. If you're just general, your brain's going to give you general back.
That's a good point. And Alex hasn't shot a single shot fast until he shot that one.
Yeah, you just get excited. You see them all out there, and you just want to grab all the candy,
Right back to where he was.
See, the difficulty right here is I think if he tries to draw off of this ball, he has a possibility of scratching in the corner off of the stripe just below the one. Or you can get stacked up. He could have been double stacked or triple stacked. Now he's got like an off-angle combo on this, or maybe he can see it. Can't tell. He could also back cut that stripe ball, but there's no telling where your cue ball is going to go. But it looks like he can see the 7. Maybe he was trying to draw into that stripe ball, the edge of that stripe ball, and lift it off of the end rail so that he could bank it later in his run, and he would have got better position on that stripe. I think that's what he was trying to do on that.
Ooh, he's in great shape now.
Yeah, he's looking real, real good. Let's see, he's got 3, 6, 9, 10. There's 5 down, and he owes 3, so he still needs 11. He needs 6 balls.
And these guys in this position, he's not thinking about 3 balls. He's thinking about 6 balls.
Got to get 6 balls here. You got a chance to put away a great player, go up 2-0. All the balls are open. It's a mistake if you don't run out. You just have to find the balls that you want to get on and get on them good, and not let the guy come back to the table, because if he comes back to the table, there's a chance he's going to beat you.
He got right where he wanted there.
So he needs 3 more.
It's funny how one pocket, I think more than any other pool game, can make you look so bad with one shot. That one shot that Scott took, it looked so bad, and yet he's the best player in the world, and the guy runs out. What did he run?
He ran 11 balls
11 balls.
Game 2 to Alex. It's 2-0 Alex.
Yep. Looks like they're going to take a quick break. I guess you had an unusual match in your tournament bull shooters the other day, where you had Gus Brasino playing Rod Elliott, and Rod has been a little bit of a unknown quantity, because he was a great player many years ago, but he's just starting to play now, and Gus didn't even know him. How did Gus in that situation? Gus is fighting for his life against somebody he doesn't even know how he plays. That must be a difficult thing to play against. I mean, the idea that how do I judge the shots I take when I don't know what the other guy's capable of?
Yeah, he's seen Rod play before, but he didn't know Rod played as good as he did, and so you kind of tend to underestimate a guy, and you leave him. You might take a little riskier shot, and then all of a sudden the guy puts the ball in the hole and starts running them, and so it makes you have to readjust what your game plan is going to be against him.
It was really interesting because I played Gus earlier in that tournament, and I'm not a good player, and my biggest weakness probably is I don't normally run a lot of balls. So Gus in that situation is willing to take shots he might not take to get out of the game. But then if I shoot some shots and I make some shots, his game suddenly turns, where now he knows, well, he has an advantage now by playing tight, moving one pocket, because he's going to be better than that. He doesn't have to take the risk of shooting.
Yeah, it's a lot like a boxing match where guys that have never fought each other before, they spar around the first couple of rounds and they're probing for weakness, and so Gus is looking to see whether you can make long shots or whether you make banks or cross banks, long banks or cross banks, and whatever you're weak at, he's going to try to exploit that. But if he doesn't know, if you're a weaker player, he's going to tend to believe that you don't make it until you prove otherwise.
Oh.
So now Scott's made a horrible break there, and there's a lot of open balls. Now Alex isn't, this time you see he's not just running straight to the table, because there's a little bit more complex, the position here. The 6 and the 4, but you got to get over on the other side of the balls. So
he's also a little happier.
Yeah.
Happier being up 2-0 against Scott Frost. He's not quite as hard on himself as he was earlier.
So he's being very specific about where he wants to go.
He didn't get where he wanted, it looks like.
Looks like he's going to try to go, I think, 4 rails to get on this 9 ball on top of the stack. And he's in line with it, but he's not in line where he can move his cue ball real good, and he's a little bit farther away than he wanted to be. He wanted to be about a foot and a half from that ball, because Scott has got a lot of open balls on his side. What he doesn't want to do is trap himself inside that stack where he can't see that ball sitting in Scott's pocket. He needs to get away from that rack. Now he's not as free and easy as he was just, 30 seconds ago.
Body language is completely different. That was pretty good. Worked out pretty good. Is that why he took that shot? Because he thought he could break everything open, or?
Yeah.
Because if he missed, he was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
He's got enough balls out there. He needs 4. Alex is running him out. He's checking.
And that's the match, Mike.
That's it. I guess the thing I learned most from in this particular match is how many shots Alex looks at. he looks up and down and up and down, and even when there are obvious shots to take, I mean, that's just a. I wish I could do that.
Well, one of the things you can think about is you'll see a shot and you go, well, I'll shoot it this way, and then you look and you go, well, if I shoot it that way, then I'm gonna leave a counter shot, and so you look at that shot again and go, well, what if I make that shot and put the cue ball over here, and then that's a little bit better, and so you look and look and look for more positions, different ways to shoot the same shot, and you're going to have better outcomes.
Alex is a crazy guy. Jumping on. I don't know if I'd be jumping on Scott's back right about now.
Well, they're really good friends, so.
They were roommates that weekend also. The thing I learned also is, and I'm learning more and more, is if you keep playing, if you stay in the match, even a good player will make a mistake and give you an opportunity to get back in the game.
Yeah, they're not perfect, so you're going to get a chance. Take the time to make the best of the opportunity that you get.
All right. Thanks, Trace. Thanks for doing this. It's really helpful, and I'm learning a lot, as I think other people will too.
When you see these shots, don't forget, practice, practice, practice.